Infamous, man. The Infamous just celebrated an anniversary as well. 27 years?
Hmm.
All right, man. What's your favorite song from the Infamous? I guess Shook One's part two is.
No, I was never a Shook One's part. Okay, so can I tell you about something about
Go
Shook One's
ahead.
part? Oftentimes, because of the strength of the first verse, I'm cool with the song after Prodigy's verse is over and I hear the hook sometime. No disrespect to Havoc.
You don't like Havoc's verse on there?
I like Havoc's verse on there. It's just Prodigy's verse is so epic sometimes. And it's the end of the album. Usually, Shook One's is track 15 on there. So it's like, no, sometimes I'm cool, like right there. I will tell you that, and I always go by this. I don't go by the songs that are the greatest songs. I go by the songs that really I played the most since the album has come out,
Mm-hmm.
realistically. And that would be Eye for an Eye or Give Up the Goods.
Give Up the Goods was one I was gonna go to straight up.
Sleeper, a sleeper song on there that I'm a big fan of, personal favorite. Temperatures Rising is a personal favorite of mine. And
I
so is
love
41st
Temperatures
Side.
Rising.
41st Side and Temperatures Rising were personal favorites, but probably Eye for an Eye, Give Up the Goods. I mean, we, like, who the hell can call on Nas and Ray like that and have them deliver like that on your
Eye
record?
for an Eye is a classic. Shout out
That,
to 007 with the super chat. It says, do you think music was better when labels controlled the game? Today, anyone can drop it anytime. You get lazy product more times than not. When labels had control, you had more time to pay attention, digest music, and artists tried harder. I don't know, man. I think there's two sides to that. I think
mm-hmm.
that I think that even when we talk about the creation of Napster and downloading MP3s, that was because there was a quality control issue with the albums that came out. I think we spoke about this in a previous show where Blockbuster Music and Sam Goody and all them used to have those little stands where you could go in there and listen to the albums ahead of time because people were dropping so much trash and folks were trying to, man, I've tried to return a couple of CDs. For real, man. Like that Rough Riders 2 compilation, that shit was awful. But I think that you do have this. This is what the major labels did bring to the game. Artists were gonna drop an album when they were actually ready to drop an album. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
now, you can record some stuff and throw it out. And so we get to see artist development right before our eyes in ways where that was taken care of ahead of time. I think quality control, though, I think we're at a similar rate, if not better, because we're getting more music. What do you think, Coop?
I don't think we've gotten seminal projects the way that we used to. There was a time in hip hop, pretty much, I'd say there was probably a time from about 85 to 2000 where each one of those years, not just one classic album, but you could go and find two, three, four, sometimes five, six, seven classic albums every year from about 85 to 2000. So I think that era in hip hop was more top heavy. You have some really special years. Like 94 is a top heavy year. It's not an overall great year, it's a top heavy year.
Yeah.
96 is now what we really have going on is that we have more years like 1996 in terms of depth without that top notch level output of those all time great albums of 1996. Like these rap years look more like 96 with the depth. Like 96 was extremely deep. It just doesn't have a reasonable doubt. It was written, the score, but then again, it's like, well, in 2020, we got Pray for Paris and Alfredo. So, that's what I mean is like, we're not having those years where we're getting 3, 4, 5 seminal projects with a deep year like a 96, but we're getting a lot of 96 like deep years. Like these last couple years we've been doing it. It's like, no, like it was tough putting last year's list together and who I was sliding out of our top 20 list. I can show you
Right.
some rap years in the 90s where it's like, you're not going to get the 20 dope ass projects.
What I
You're
think
not.
what makes it feel different is because back then, back in let's just say 96, the songs actually, were they stretched longer. Like the singles actually, it was like 3 singles a year, right? The songs would stretch albums out. Whereas now, you put a single out, it's gone after a couple of weeks. Like Diet Coke. Diet Coke came out what maybe like a month or so ago. It's gone.
It's gone. It's
Same
already
thing with
over.
neck and wrist. Now,
Yeah.
if this would have happened in the '90s, where radio was able to dictate when you heard a song, because you only had two options there, right? Either hear this, well, three options: see this and hear this on TV, hear this through your CD player or whatever, or hear this on the radio, right? Or in the
Yeah.
club, whatever. But now people can just hear anything whenever they want to on demand, and songs go away a lot quicker now. You were able to actually have more impactful records in that day as far as individual singles, if that makes any sense. Now, the full projects are the full projects, but you're not going to get songs that are like California Love and stuff like that now because songs come and go too quick, if that makes any sense.
Mm. I don't like the fact that nobody is attempting to make those level of classic songs that is going to stay with you just about culture or the fast moving pace of the culture per se. That's not really an excuse to not attempt to make those records.
I
The
just don't
MC,
think that they're able to have those kind of legs because of the ability for everybody to listen to anything whenever they want to. And radio doesn't matter. That's one thing that radio did help. Radio helped dictate the pace when it came to individual songs. There
no,
is
I
no
will give you
pace
that.
anymore.
No, I will give you that. But okay, so let's go back to the run that Nas and Hit Boy are on right quick, and why I like
Okay.
how they're doing things. I told you, Mike, it's kind of reshaping and reshifting everything because they're even setting a new template that I was looking at. It's like, well, Miss Mo jumped in our comments and pointed out very astutely. Well, the video to Ugly drops on the anniversary of Illmatic, and he starts rolling out the merch and all this stuff on the anniversary of Illmatic. It's a good time to hit you. But when you're a legend like Nas, well, he's dropped classic albums in almost every quarter of this sphere, so you're probably going to get the next video or maybe a KD3 plug, because Mike, the anniversary that it was written is right around the corner. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like different ways that you can play this game now to get a buzz. You can even go off the nostalgia of your own legend by releasing your new stuff around the time your old stuff is getting celebrated today, i.e., Illmatic, it was written.
I think
Right.
that's a great idea, and I think that's what a lot of people are doing because you got sites like ours and many others that actually shine a light on when these anniversaries come up.
Like Jay dropping an album, I told you 97 Ho. This 25th anniversary of 97 Ho.
I think Jay-Z's probably gonna drop like a
In the fall, like he
like
did
I don't think he's
21.
gonna drop anything new. I think he's either gonna do a concert for Volume One, or he's gonna do like a commemorative, vinyl release or something like that.
With him performing the songs because he never does any of those songs.
Right, kind of like a
Right.
B-side thing. But back to the infamous stuff. So you're gonna say Eye for an Eye is your favorite, or Temperatures Rising?
It's eye for an eye just because like it's rare. What Raekwon did something kind of special at the end of that song because he knew lyrically he wasn't Nas. That's 95 Nas.
Yeah.
That's Verbal Intercourse Nas. That's Fast Life Nas. That's dude right off Illmatic Nas. Like, ain't nobody lyrically rap with that guy. So Ray inflection and vocally wise took over the track. Like he upped the energy a level and made the intensity of it so hard to match what he couldn't match lyrically with Nas. Drug.
You were going out for a second. We hadn't forgotten the super chats. I do want to get to some of the. You there?
Go ahead.
My bad. I did want to get to some of the super chats. Jay Shore says Rolling Stone did Public Enemy dirty in '94. Mad Max says, LOL, I don't know why y'all hype up Ross. He's been exposed. Kid not that good with his Biggie gimmick. Ross has always been one of those guys that people...
He's polarizing.
Yeah, they either love or love to hate Ross.
I used to be on the other side. I used to not be a big fan after the first couple albums, but I remember, I think it's the Maybach with Kanye and Wayne on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh no, his verse is just as good as theirs. I need to start listening to him more. And yeah.
I mean, when you really hear that Ross has elevated is when you listen to the first Maybach music with him and Jay. He's not that good. You listen to him like 2 or 3 albums after that, He worked on it. You know what? He might be one of the most improved MCs of all time.
Him, Jeezy, Fat Joe. Yep.
You think Jeezy's improved?
Oh, the rapper that Jeezy was on 101 and the guy that showed up on the Recession in 103, that's a different guy. Yeah.
I'm going more so the Game.
I always thought Game was dope.
Really? I thought
Yeah,
when I
Game was
listened
dope.
to the documentary, Game sounded like he was reading off of a page.
I mean, he's way better than he used to be. I always thought that he was dope enough from the jump. I don't know if I always felt that way about Ross or Jeezy or even Fat Joe early on. That's why I referenced those guys. It's like, oh, I liked them. I just wasn't sure how dope they were. I always
You
thought
think
Game
Fat
was
Joe
dope.
got better?
Yeah. Oh God, the dude that's on Don Cartagena. Yeah. Yeah, the dude that's on Don Cartagena from there on was succinctly better from the dude that made like Jealous Ones, Envy, and like all that. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I like Don Cartagena. It's actually my favorite Fat Joe project.
That's the Fat Joe. That's when Fat Joe
That's
came
the
in.
improved Fat Joe.
That's the
Okay.
improved Fat Joe. Yeah, Don Cartagena's the improved Fat Joe.
But see, I never thought like Flo Joe was bad. You know, it was...
bad. It's just not. That's not the same guy. The guy that's rapping on Crack Attack is not the same guy.
Crack Attack is hard.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna go with the Q-Tip produce. Give up the goods.
No, that's cool. No. Go. They're right after each other, just with the Noid interlude in between. I love the beginning of that album.
Noid killed that shit.
Yeah, Noid kills a lot of shit, man.
He does.
And that album is as good as I mean, Mike, you're not gonna find too many rap albums that have like so many classic street anthems on the first half. Like it literally goes survival of the fittest, eye for an eye, give up the goods. Those are three street instant classics. I don't know any album has a run of 3 songs where every one of those songs is like literally a street classic. Like literally.
Is the Infamous more important than Southern Playalistic?
It bought East Coast, no, because of Illmatic. If Illmatic doesn't drop, then yeah. But I mean, they didn't. What did they bring back? You know what I'm saying? Like Nas kind of bought the bridge back the year before. Illmatic's better than the Infamous. You know, like where did it? I mean, I know it really influenced like East Coast gangster rap, like in the long run. But also Ray and Ghost were right there with that on the Purple Tape in '95 too. And the Purple Tape is actually more influential long term than the Infamous. So it's really, it sucks to say, the Infamous really suffers from like its contemporaries and the dudes they were closest to, Ray and Ghost and Nas, because it suffers from being grouped between Illmatic and the Purple Tape.
I think that, man, Shook One's Part 2 is special. And it's one of the best hip hop songs of all time. It's probably one of the most recognizable beats from that hip hop era. It encapsulates something, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a symbol of that East Coast hardcore shit like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to really, put a label on it, but you know what it is. And I think that a lot of that, not a lot of that, but at least for Mobb Deep, that sound starts with the Infamous.
It does, but I think a lot of their legend is shrouded in not just what they did with the Infamous, but what they did successfully. Like, it's not just the Infamous that had the impact. It was the fact that they did the Infamous Hell on Earth and Murder Music. You know what I mean? Exactly. The Infamous is clearly the best album. A lot of people, I'll tell you this, Prodigy.
A lot of people in here saying that the Infamous is better than Illmatic. Jay Short says, are you sure that Illmatic is better than the Infamous?
Yes. Next question. Like, it's not even, yeah. We're talking about a top 5 rap album versus a top 10 to 15 rap album. So I get what you're saying, but no. Like, the Infamous, that's why I bring up those street classics. It's like, no. It's got stuff on there. But if you really want to start parsing it out, it's like, is Survival of the Fittest better than New York State of Mind? No. Is Eye for an Eye better than The World Is Yours? No. Is Give Up the Goods better than Life's a Bitch? No. Don't play those games with Illmatic and start losing all those great records. You feel me? Because only one going to win is Shook One's Part 2.
Shook One's Part 2 could take out a lot.
No, Part 2 has something. Resident Street Classics is losing. I didn't even Memory Lane or One Love on y'all. Come on. Let's be real. One Love is taking Temperatures Rising out. You feel me?
Yeah. It ain't hard to tell.
Look, Memory Lane's taking Drink Away the Pain out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, Illmatic's better than them.
Yeah, Illmatic's tough, man.
Yeah, that's simple arithmetic. Sorry.
But from an impact standpoint, you still got Illmatic over the Infamous.
Yeah. But the Infamous is super important. But like I said, part of their legend is shrouded in what they did with all three albums. Because it's like when they came back with Hell on Earth, it was like, oh no, they're here to do this, do this. Like they're all time great at it. Like they got stamped and solidified when they came out with Hell on Earth, because Hell on Earth was almost as good as the Infamous. It just doesn't have the classic street songs. Like it doesn't have the street classics that's the level to an Eye for an Eye or Give Up the Goods or Shook Ones or Survival of the Fittest. But the street shit that's on there that's classic is still classic. Hell on Earth, G.O.D. Part 3, Nighttime Vultures, you know, Still Shining. Like, no, there's stuff on there. So it's more about the total encompassing of what they did with that 3-album run after Juvenile Hell, not just the Infamous. But
A lot of people even like Hell on Earth more than the Infamous.
Production, I mean, this is one of those things. There's Hell on Earth and It Was Written are very comparable in the fact that it's like, well, technically put together better, the rhymes are better, but doesn't have the same feel, you know? Because Prodigy's actually a better MC. And Havoc is definitely a better MC. And Havoc in the Hell on Earth is Havoc's production without Q-Tip's help. So that's more of the Mobb Deep sound that gets identified right there. And so that's what I mean. This is like It Was Written like in the sense that it's like if you feel like it's better, there are components to it that are valid that make you feel that way. Yeah.